This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM. And I am Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, in partnership with key national agencies, today held its second technical workshop on the Gambia's disaster risk financing strategy. Appearing on QTV's State of Affairs program this week, Environment Minister Rohi John Manjang defended government climate and forestry policies while acknowledging challenges in funding illegal logging and environmental protection. The Gambia Ports Authority, in collaboration with Alport Banjul and security agencies, today held its annual maritime security exercise at Banjul Port to strengthen compliance and security protocols. The government of Japan, in collaboration with UNICEF the Gambia, on Wednesday handed over essential supplies to improve access to education and strengthen supply for children and families nationwide. In international news, ECOWAS has approved new regional guidelines to strengthen the integration of traditional medicine into national health systems, aiming to standardize regulation and promote safe, high-quality and evidence-based practice across the region. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you very much for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, this is the QTV Nightly News. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, in partnership with the World Bank and key national agencies, including the National Disaster Management Agency and the National Social Protection Agency, on Wednesday, held its second technical workshop on the Gambia's disaster risk financing strategy. Usman Jata reports.
Floods, droughts and windstorms continue to pose a serious threat to livelihoods across the Gambia, particularly in rural communities where farming is the main source of income. To address these risks, the government is developing a national disaster risk financing strategy to ensure funds are readily available when disasters strike. Supported by the World Bank, the African Development Bank's ADRIFI program, and the Center for Disaster Protection, the strategy seeks to move away from emergency responses to a more planned and reliable financing system. The workshop built on progress made during the first session, which reviewed key findings and identified government priorities for disaster preparedness and climate resilience. Babukar Job is the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs.
Beyond mobilizing financial resources, we are committed to guiding strategic investment, aligning fiscal planning with risk reduction priorities, and ensuring that our financial architecture supports both national development and climate resilience objectives as well.
In 2023, the Gambia received a $60 million in World Bank support to strengthen climate and social resilience, improve economic governance, and enhance domestic revenue mobilization. Franklin Mutahakana is the World Bank resident representative, and Annie Hilger is a senior economist with the World Bank.
Having the comprehensive disaster risk financing strategy, but also mobilizing and coordinating with other development partners, because then in terms of the resources that may be necessary to implement this strategy, you really require a lot of resources coming in. And the government may not have all the resources at once.
This initiative is very important to the Gambia. The Gambia is highly exposed to climate risks. The main hazards are droughts, floods, including flash floods and windstorms. And the country is currently ill-prepared to support its populations as a result of a shock. We know that it is much more cost-effective and efficient to prepare ex ante before shock hits.
Part of the strategy includes access to a $20 million catastrophe deferred drawdown option, allowing the government to release funds rapidly after a disaster, reducing reliance on emergency aid. Seiku Jang is the Executive Director of the National Social Protection Agency, and Sana Dahaba is the Executive Director of the National Disaster Management Agency, NDMA.
When there are disasters, when there are crises, the first line of call is the National Social Protection Agency. And therefore, as the coordinators of social protection in the country, we try to work with all stakeholders. And in doing that, what we ensure is that we have more proactive rather than reactive measures.
No country can prepare enough when it comes to disaster, because you can never say when disaster will happen. We only look at strengthening our institutional response mechanism so that when it happens, we will be in a better position to support, because you can see what's happening around the world. Disaster events are happening in America as the most advanced country.
As climate risk increased, authorities say strengthening disaster financing is key to protecting lives, livelihoods, and the country's economic future. Osman Chata, QTV News.
Appearing on QTV's State of Affairs program this week, the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Rohi John Manjang, defended government policies on climate finance, forestry management and enforcement, while admitting major challenges in funding, tackling illegal logging and environmental protection. State of Affairs host Aliu Sise has the details.
In common with many countries, the Gambia is having to deal with the effects of climate change, including rising temperatures and increasingly erratic rainfall patterns. Minister Rohi John Manjang says unpredictable rainfall, which is sometimes excessive and sometimes insufficient, has made traditional farming calendars unreliable, forcing the government to rethink its forecasting and climate adaptation strategies.
That's why as a country and as a ministry, when it comes to the environment, we don't only implement our targets. It's a chain work. The entire government machinery is responsible for making sure that at least we are able to build our resilience and also mitigate and enhance our adaptability when it comes to climate impacts.
On climate finance, the minister acknowledged major gaps, particularly for least developed countries like the Gambia. She pointed to unfulfilled international pledges and slow disbursement of climate funds, despite agreements reached at global climate summits.
Last year, agreement has been reached, emanated from COP29, where we agreed that now the loss and damage fund is standing, but empty. It was empty at the time. But now, at least by last year, we agreed that something should be put there, and close to 200 million has been agreed. But these are just pledges. For the money to actually come is another thing.
The minister also defended her ministry's record on enforcement, particularly against illegal lodging and timber trafficking. She revealed that in 2025 alone, authorities intercepted about 30 trucks transporting illegal timber, with several vehicles confiscated and cases taken to court.
We also have engagements with alcalos, with community leaders, but also making sure that we also plant trees.
The minister addressed the controversial Kiankayaf Mahogany case.
I, as a minister, am not involved. I just give guidance to avoid finding ourselves into the scenario that just happened.
So was the money audited?
It was never even sold because the officer refused to. It was never sold. That's when we lost the timber. They said this timber was stolen by someone I don't know.
She also defended government decisions to allocate small portions of gazette forest land for development, including the disputed Salaji Sukuta forest.
This is a government forest. It's not community forest. Government forest, government has the right to reserve it. And for any purpose.
I mean, the director of Parks and Wildlife at the time, Umar Gassama, was actually arrested on a Friday, detained all weekend and released without charges. Why?
He was detained by the police and released by the police.
Did you give the orders for his arrest?
I don't have the mandate to give the order for an officer to be arrested.
But do you think it was lawful?
The police can answer that.
On wildlife protection, the minister addressed public outrage over the killing of a hippopotamus in Central River region and reports of a captured crocodile allegedly intended as a donation to the president during his last Meet the People tour.
Which of the hippos? Because several have been killed.
Well, the one that was killed in CRR and transported to Mankunda.
Well, I know sometimes some of these hippos are threat to our survival and also our habitat, so they would request, they would request that they'll be eliminated and the process will be taken.
And under what law was a live crocodile captured and, of course, donated to the president during the last Meet the People tour?
I'm just hearing this aspect, this thing from you.
lawful.
No.
But if that's
I
the
missed
case,
that.
if that's the case, do you think it's legal?
I said, I don't know whether it was illegal. It was legal, but I want to believe the president is somebody who is very conscious about law.
Minister Rohigon Manjang says he wants to be remembered for strengthening environmental institutions. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Gambia Ports Authority, in collaboration with Alport Banjul and security agencies, on Wednesday held its annual maritime security exercise at the Banjul port. As we hear in this report by QTV's Ansumana Isonyasi, the annual exercise is designed to ensure adherence to national and international maritime regulations while enhancing security protocols.
The intensive exercise was conducted to fulfill GPS national and international obligations, including compliance with the International Ship and Port Facilities Security Code. Navy officers and emergency response personnel simulated a range of scenarios such as fire outbreaks, bomb threats, the arrest of suspected drug traffickers, and the evacuation of staff. Speaking at the exercise, Baris Demeshi, Director of Security at Alport Banjul, and Farah Job, Commander of the Gambian Navy, said the drill assessed the port's level of preparedness to manage security threats and respond effectively to emergencies. They expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the exercise and commended the various security agencies and partners for their active participation and collaboration.
To the international shipping companies, be sure that your vessels and your goods are safe with us at Alport Banjul. And also to the people of Gambia, this port is your gateway to the world. And we are guarding in 24 hours, 7 days.
It's an improvement from the last time because we've seen that at least when it comes to the skills of the men that we are tasked to respond has improved. The professionalism is very much encouraging. The resources we've seen, some of these ambulances and fire tenders being new ones.
Underscoring the significance of the exercise, Ibrahim Job, the Director of Security and Safety at the Gambia Maritime Administration, and Samba Jacob Jaju, Assistant Chief Fire Officer, emphasized the need for effective contingency planning to address potential emergencies given the port's critical role in the country's economy. They urged the GPA management to continue to regularly organize such exercises to strengthen preparedness and ensure coordinated responses to emergencies.
The Gambia is unique in the sense that it has only one port. Other countries, you have so many ports. But the Gambia, we have only one port. So this being the case, we are very, very, should I say, particular.
The simulation exercise is long overdue. And I think the management will try by all means to do it every year so that it will keep the men always ready to move in and out.
Speaking on behalf of the GPA management, Mam Pate Damfa, the Port Facility Security Officer and Simulation Coordinator, said the exercise is designed to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the Gambia Port Authority's security plan in addressing threats such as terrorism and illicit drug trafficking. He noted that the simulation provides an opportunity to test existing protocols, improve coordination among stakeholders, and strengthen overall preparedness for potential security incidents.
While the conclusion of the exercise reaffirms our commitment to maintaining the highest standards of port security, as it highlighted our strengths and identified areas for improvement. Thus, a review will be held in due course to analyze the results of the exercise and further update our port facility security plan.
As well as assessing responsiveness, the drills can help identify best practice, uncover operational gaps, and develop effective mitigation strategies. Authorities have pledged to institutionalize the exercise, making it a recurring annual event aimed at improving overall preparedness and coordination. Ansmane Sonyasi for QTV News.
The report by Ansmane Sonyasi will take us for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national and international news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Stay healthy and hydrated. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations FAO, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, encourages you to drink at least 2 liters of clean and safe water every day. Men, adults, and those working in hot environments need even more water. Remember to drink more during the hotter seasons to stay refreshed. Choose clean water over sweetening beverages like carbonated drinks and juices. Safe drinking water is vital for your health. Always obtain drinking water from the safe sources like tap water, bottled water or protected wells. If you are unsure about your water, make sure you treat it by boiling, chlorination or filtration. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and choose water. Drink at least 2 liters of clean and safe water daily. Stay hydrated for a healthier life.
Welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. Now to the rest of our stories. The government of Japan, in collaboration with UNICEF the Gambia, on Tuesday handed over essential supplies to improve access to education and strengthen support for children and families nationwide. Jacqueline Colley has the details.
The consignment, procured through the government and people of Japan, includes digital learning materials and solar-powered electricity systems. The initiative is designed to expand climate-resilient digital learning and reach more than 24,000 young people nationwide. Mrs. Fatubute, the director of the Science Technology Education Directorate, says the support provided through the Japan and TICAD initiative targets 102 rural secondary schools and 20 alternative learning centers, noting that the intervention will help bridge the digital divide and improve learning conditions for vulnerable children.
All these schools, we are provided in the project with 128 smart televisions, 128 laptops with bags, 122 projectors, 16 servers, 128 routers, with an ear internet connectivity, 1 year internet connectivity, 128 external drives, 2 digital cameras, 124 Bluetooth speakers, 2 giant printers, 122 solar kits, and 122 batteries. This is a lot.
The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, Dr. Habibatu Drame, spoke about the likely impact of this donation.
The introduction of these state-of-the-art tools will leverage smart technology to significantly enhance teaching and learning outcomes throughout the education system. This initiative empowers our dedicated teachers, equipping them with the tools necessary to create and deliver high-quality, engaging content, which is vital in nurturing the intellectual curiosity of our students.
Here is the ambassador of Japan to the Gambia, His Excellency Takashi Akamatsu, who is based in Senegal.
Other projects aims to build a foundation that enables Gambian youth to play an active role in the future digital economy by harnessing digital technology. In approximately 120 rural schools in the lower river region and the center river region, portable solar power units developed by the Japanese startup company Cube Japan, together with digital learning materials, have been introduced. This initiative has expanded access to quality education for children in off-grid areas, particularly girls, and represents an important step forward, reducing educational disparities.
The UNICEF country representative, Nafisa Binte Shafiq, states that the project will equip children with 21st century skills and strengthen partnerships and networks based on public-private collaborations.
Together, these grants represent a holistic approach to ensuring that Gambian children thrive, contributes to the survival and development, health and education, resilience and innovation for and with children.
The intervention is another sign of the enduring partnership between the government of Japan, UNICEF, and the government of the Gambia. By equipping schools and alternative learning centers with digital tools and sustainable energy solutions, The initiative is expected to improve learning outcomes, expand access for children in rural and underserved communities, and contribute to the country's broader human capital development goals. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jacqueline Collie.
The judiciary of the Gambia, in partnership with the Office of the Chief Justice, on Tuesday hosted a day-long training for 30 judges on the draft civil procedure rules of the High Court. The training formed part of activities marking the opening of the 2026 legal year. Usman Jatta tells us more.
The High Court rules of the Gambia, originally adopted in 1928, are undergoing a major reform as part of broader judicial reforms aimed at modernizing the legal system and reducing case backlogs. High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court judges convened for a day-long training to familiarize themselves with the draft civil procedure rules, share experience, and exchange insights for the benefit of the legal community. Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallo and Judicial Secretary Abdul Kante outlined the objectives of the new High Court procedure rules.
Well, today's training session is for the judges, and it focuses on familiarizing them the new rules of the High Court, which we hope to promulgate to bring into force later this year. The training for the judges will be followed by training for the lawyers and also training for the officers of the courts, those who operate the rules in some respects. We've prepared some new rules for the High Court to replace the ones which have been in force since 1928. And the objective is to try and expedite the process in the High Court. The rules govern the procedure and the practice in the High Court, how cases should be conducted and managed, etc. So it's an important part of the judicial process. And it should, when they come into force, they should make an impact on the quality and the speed with which cases are resolved in the High Court.
When these rules were adopted way back in 1928, so many things, innovations were not in existence. But as I speak to you now, the world has moved faster. There are so many innovations that have come into effect. So we want to align those innovations with the rules of the High Court as well.
In December 2024, the judiciary, in partnership with the American Bar Association Rule of Law Initiative, validated the revised High Court rules for rollout in 2025. The reforms introduce a mandatory court-connected alternative dispute resolution (ADR) before litigation, authorize virtual hearings and remote testimony, allow electronic service where personal service is impractical, and strengthen case management through front-loading of evidence. High Court Judge Ibrahim Ajete is among the judges participating in the training.
We've been working on this for a long time now. We have validated it, and it is the civil procedure rules of the High Court, and that means to say these are the rules that govern civil matters. And it has modernized and consolidated all the amendments in the past. We had series of laws that were made in different components. So this rule has now embodied all the amendments of the past from 1928 coming right down to this moment. We operate by rules. We don't operate from our own judicial whims and caprices, not as we wish. We are guided by rules. Rules is the guidance that tells us exactly what to do. The framework, the jurisdiction of the court, and many other issues are within the rules. You operate within the rules and you win your case by the rules.
The draft rules also clarify judges' duty to narrow and settle issues during pre-trial conferences and recommend repealing arrest and imprisonment solely for debt as part of efforts to modernize procedures and improve access to justice. Osman Jatta, QTV News.
Coming up next, we have international news. Now, ECOWAS has endorsed new regional guidelines to boost the integration of traditional medicine into national health systems. The framework was validated by the West African Health Organization in Benin. More in this report by Mam Nabuka.
The West African Health Organization, WAHO, concluded a 3-day meeting in Cotonou last week to validate the regional guidelines for the regulation and promotion of traditional medicine in ECOWAS member states. The meeting brought together representatives from ministries of health, universities, research institutes, traditional medicine practitioners, experts, and technical partners. Participants reviewed and technically validated a harmonized regional framework designed to regulate and promote the practice of traditional medicine across West Africa. The initiative aims to strengthen the role of traditional medicine within national healthcare systems while ensuring standards of safety, quality, and effectiveness. Delegates highlighted the central role traditional medicine continues to play in healthcare delivery, particularly due to its accessibility, deep cultural roots, and the trust it commands within local communities. They underscored the importance of building a regulatory framework grounded in scientific evidence and best practices to enhance its contribution to universal health coverage. The framework aligns with the World Health Organization's Global Strategy for Traditional Medicine 2025-2034, the African Union's Agenda 2063, and the ECOWAS Regional Health Policy. In his closing remarks, WAHO Director General Dr. Melchior Atanas J.C. Aisi called for greater recognition of what he described as an evolving African medicine, one that values indigenous knowledge, encourages innovation, and promotes complementarity with conventional medicine. He reaffirmed WAHO's mandate from ECOWAS to harmonize practices, strengthen regulatory systems, and support effective integration for the benefit of West African populations. Speaking on behalf of the ECOWAS chair, Sierra Leone's representative Dr. Brahima Osayo Kamara praised member states for their collective efforts. He reaffirmed his country's commitment to adopting and integrating traditional medicine into national health systems in line with international best practices. The meeting concluded with the adoption of a regional roadmap. Key steps include finalizing the policy document, drafting a community directive, and submitting it to the ECOWAS Assembly of Health Ministers for adoption. The roadmap also outlines plans for harmonized implementation across member states, backed by a monitoring and evaluation mechanism to ensure effective execution. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
This is all we have for you in this edition of the News Bulletin. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for another News Bulletin. Thank you for watching.